Okay, so for this video, we will continue with the studio build. All right, we have base traps up on the wall. I've had to patch some places in the wall, and now the paint and spackle is all dry. You can hardly tell. It's on both places here. You kind of see it within the light there. It's not completely done, but yeah. Jessica and I really do appreciate her help. Jessica and I are going to work on the rest of this wall right here. More base traps, get my diffusers up, get the chair rail down, handled, get it knocked out. Well, we managed to get it all mounted. This looks really good in here. I'm excited. It's coming along. I'm walking behind the console here. I've never had this much freedom. Still got to sort all of these cables out. Those are all the cables that go to the live room. I'm gonna have to sort those out at some point as well, but my main focus is going to be sorting all this out and getting these pulled. All right, well, it's the morning after I worked, and I realized that I forgot to do a quick update. Yesterday, I got all this stuff placed. We have finished with some of the stuff over there on the wall. Yeah, this room is coming together. It's looking good. All right, after getting the console in place over here and everything seen about, I've pushed it back because we are putting up on the ceiling there this ceiling clip. We're going to be getting that done, and maybe some of the rest of the side panels for the acoustic treatment. It's a few hours later, and maybe you can see I've got some panels up there on the wall and panels up back over here on the wall, and got the panel on the ceiling. Looks good. I am at the end of another productive day. We got the other panels there, you can see back there hung up, as well as the one on the door. Plus, I have, as you can see, all my screens going. I have got power run. We should have the console, and we've got power there to that conditioner, and that conditioner. Let's turn these on. We've got the console, as you can see, is lit up. Oh, we got some. But yeah, we've got the console and the SSL rack. All have power. Got my laptop rig and the main rig. All powered up. Plus I've got those powered on, and the Focusrite power's on. I am waiting on a replacement power supply for my gigabit switch. So yeah, it's been a very, very productive day. Everything is looking really good. I am so excited about this remodel. right, well, I am finished for this day. Yes, I got a haircut, but I also managed to get my monitoring placed, and I discovered that I needed to go ahead and rack up my front end, but I have already gone ahead and racked those guys up and run the power and got it all cable managed and everything. Well, I have reached sort of a bump in the road, sort of a stopping point. I came to the realization that over here in my patch bays with the ADDA, I was going to need to run my future expansion cables for it to not be a problem later. So while I'm running cables, it dawned on me, oh yeah, maybe I should go ahead and run these cables. Well, I've got those ordered and waiting on delivery. So until then, I'm kind of at a standstill. So today, I moved all of my microphones into their new home. So I got this mic, I guess locker, lack of a better way of saying it. I got kind of like a utility drawer, some of the Lewitt mics and stuff. I've got the telephone receiver mic, all kinds of like some shock mounts and some pop filters. This first one, I've got a couple of gun cases full of like SM57s, SM58s. We've got a Sterling and this Sennheiser pair. This pair of mics here. Then in here I've got another couple of cases. These are the Aventone and a couple of universal mic shock mounts. And then in here I've got the SE Electronics X1A and a power supply for a Rode mic. And then over here I'm going to be storing a couple of cases. That's the Aventone C12. And there's another gun case full of like utility mics, and then there's my Shure drum mic kit. So the cables came in and were delivered, and I was able to get the stuff over here in the patch bay for the ADDA run, and now I have moved over to running all of the console I/O. So, reached another hurdle here. I have set out to run all of the channel inserts back behind here, and in doing so, I found a lot of the connection points on the insert snake itself are coming apart and have severed the connection, so thus shorting out the connection. And that's no good. So I'm taking the moment now, while everything is up and it is moving and is in flux. I'm taking the moment now to buy new cables. It's kind of an expensive venture, but yeah. So got those on order, and those aren't going to be delivered till next week. But for now, since I have the outputs run, I figured I would test the outputs. Now, what I am doing is I have got a test tone loop going out of each channel. Right? So you see the outputs show up there. You see all the outputs show up there on the LED screen. And you also see all the outputs show up here. That's what is sending to each channel. And the way that I test and make sure each one is going to its specified channel is here we have channel 1 right there, and I will solo it, right? So we check up here. There's 1. We check down here. There's 1. We check over here. That is channel 1, and then we check on the console. That is channel 1. And then we move on to channel 2, and we get the same results here, 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 and here. And something else that's really important to test when you're testing outputs and you're going into a console is considering that you're coming into tape returns. Usually tape returns have a trim pot on them, and so what you want to do is, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it, you want to calibrate your console. And how to do that is turn all the trim pots down, and all of your levels coming out are dead level. They're all at unity gain here. So it's all coming out the same level, and you've got all of them coming into the console at the same level. And this is with the trim all the way down. And then what you're going to do is mine has a detent at unity. So you're going to bring all of them up and see which ones, considering that this console is modular, we're going to see which channels need adjusting. That looks like that channel right there needs adjusting, and that one right there. But these all should be similarly in the same spot when they hit that detent. And you see I have a couple of channels that are a little bit lower. That's because this is a modular console and each channel is its own board. Okay, so we see here, like this one, to have the same level, we need to adjust just so slightly to get them all to match. And this one, and then this one, and I skipped one to match that one. All right, now that set of 16 is matching. Let's move over here to this one. Looks like I only have 2 over here to adjust. So we adjust both of those. Then, right, you're coming from 0, and we run the test. Boom, everything is running at the same level. So yeah, lack of a better way of saying it, my console has been calibrated. Well, alright, it is about a week later. I got another little bit of acoustic treatment up there on the ceiling because I had a little bit of slap back here that was still occurring. But I think I pretty much got this room dialed in. But anyway, it's about a week later and cables have come in. So we're going to get started on that. So before I get any further with this, I just want to take a minute and explain exactly what happened with the cables and with the fraying of the cables, because you will have, by the time you see this, you will have seen me plug in these cables more than once. So these insert cables, you have, well, before I had 4 8-channel snakes, and I got lucky this time and was able to get 2 16-channel snakes, so that makes the runs just a little bit easier. But you have these, if I pull one of these out, you have stereo cable, and usually you've got the tip is send and the ring is receive, or it's the other way around. But you plug those into the insert channels, and then each other end, the corresponding end, has a double. You see these 2 mono cables, right? And one of them is the send and one of them is the receive, okay? Now, both of these cables I'm going to run around here to the backs of these patch bays. And I'm going to run the outputs up top, which would be the send, and then the inputs on the bottom, which would be the receive, okay? And I'm going to have channels 1 through 24 there, and 25 through 32 there. And you see I've got the little line to denote the end of the console I/O. And then from here, that way is my ADDA inputs. That's a discussion for another day. But anyway, what had happened with the other cables is the connection points right here where it splits. Let's see if we get this to focus. The connection points right here where it splits, the insulation was completely sheared off, and the wires were exposed and were fraying, as well as up here at the tops, right here and here. The insulation was almost all the way gone on most of the cables, and the wires inside were exposed and were starting to fray. Now, that wasn't on every single channel, but one of them goes and basically your entire snake is gone, basically, which is one of the drawbacks to getting snakes. But if you get good, decent quality, now it looks like they've upgraded quality. You've got a bigger neck on this connection point right here, so it protects this weak point. Every single cable, the connection right here at your connector right here, and especially on insert cables where it Y's out, these connections, that's the weak point in your cables, and that's where you're most likely going to get shorts in your cables. It's not going to be the long part of the cable run. It's going to be here at the connections. And so it does look like they have substantially upgraded the connections here to protect against what happened to my previous cables. Now that I've got that handled, it's time for me to run a quick test. As you can see, I've got this piece of gear. This is 500 series rack. It's got a couple of DBX 560As in them, and I'm not testing any audio. I'm running a test signal to see levels. And how I'm going to test it is like this. I've got the test session back open up on the computer here. I've got this hooked up to the patch bay because I've got all of my inserts run to the back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm running signal to the channel, right? To the first channel there. And then on channel 1, I should be outputs up top, inputs on bottom. I should be getting signal in here. When I hit play, I should get signal in here. And I've got it routed back into channel 2, testing the output. And I will go along my channel set 2 channels at a time and crisscross them to check inputs and outputs on both channels. Alright, let me hit play. And I've got audio from the first channel is coming out and hitting the piece of gear. I've got level, and it's got some gain reduction on it. And it's coming back into channel 2, and you can visibly see the gain reduction that's happening. Right? That is that. And then, if I solo track 2 and swap places, where I'm coming out of channel 2 and going into channel 1, and we hit play, it's going. I have signal here. I am coming out, and now it's reversed. So I'm coming out of channel 2 and going into channel 1. So both channels 1 and 2 are run properly. Now what I'm going to end up doing is the entire channel set, but I'm not going to show that. So that about wraps it up for the night. I've checked every channel, the outputs and the inputs, and they are running properly. So it's the end of the next day. I've continued to run cables. I've run all of my ADDA inputs. So now I am fully up and running with all the outputs and all the inputs. Now I just have to run my monitoring so I can hear the stuff. And after the monitors, I am contemplating on how to get the rest of this gear over here in the rack. I am thinking about maybe starting with the stereo master bus and getting that XLR patch bay wired up. Start there and then work my way up the rack. I think that is going to be my plan of action. It is now a couple of days later. I set out to wire up the SSL rack and quickly discovered that I needed to purchase yet more cables. That's kind of a running theme here, is replacing cables, but I'm holding a very high standard. I am not accepting anything less than this room is getting turned around. I'm settling for nothing but the best. So while I have this on hold, I've got some of it partially run. I've got the tie lines run over here to the patch bay, and so I'm making use of that. And I've also got all of the lines, the direct outs from the groups, the group sends here, I've got all of those run over here to the SSL. So now I've got it like it was before, where the SSL mirrors my master section. I have also started working on the master bus patch bay. I've got that's currently in progress. I've got the CDR and my bus compressor, the Community Lab 7720. I've got those run, the power run, and the audio cables run. And those are all tucked up out of the way, all cable managed, everything. It's looking great. So it's an end of another day, and I've got more of my rack gear put in. This one, the LED, the LED's going out, so I'm gonna have to either send that off or figure out how to replace it myself. I have also got this Neve 1073 hooked up. Cables run, power run, audio cables run, and it's got this remote app that comes with it that's really, really cool. So if I adjust the volume on here, it bumps it up on the unit over here. That is really, really cool. All right, that's about all the time that we have for this one. It's been a crazy few weeks trying to get this room finished up, but we've made a lot of progress. Almost there. I'm willing to say I'm about 90% there. The rig is back up and functional, and I have just the last few bit of things to finish up. I've got to finish rack mounting the rest of the outboard gear and running cables. I've got to finish up my master bus patch bay there. I've got to button this up over here and finish that up from the SSL. I've got to hang up some decor. I've got to put this the mic locker back in place when I no longer need to access my rack from the sides. I got to put in the keyboard rig. We've got to rehang those curtains on a different curtain rod because the one that it's on currently is actually not strong enough over a huge length of time. And this part right here, I'm kind of dreading. That's all the lines and cables and stuff from the live room. I've got to sort through that and get those carefully and gingerly run back over here through here, get stuff plugged in to the console, stuff plugged in to the front end here and into the patch bays and stuff like that. But anyway, it's about time for me to get upstairs, and because it's summer, I am going to amend that and say it's time for me to get outside and into the pool. Pool time. So, because it's been so crazy, I didn't have time to fully research and soul search and figure out a special message or quote or anything. So the best I can come up with off the top of my head is a quote from Willy Wonka. It's one of my favorite movies, by the way, the Gene Wilder version. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, on we go. And that's that's what it is. Sometimes you just got to say, on we go. We are keeping moving forward. We're about 90% done. And next time you will see me hopefully finish this room up. Y'all take care.